Good afternoon, I'm Heather Miller. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has unveiled a plan to combat the scourge of ice in Australia. The task force report makes 38 recommendations on changes which could be added to the system and will support families, communities and aid police to more effectively disrupt the spread of the drug. Mr Turnbull says the rates of ice use are increasing and immediate action needs to be taken.
Proportionally,
police are growing increasingly frustrated with young people ignoring their pleas to stay away from illicit drugs. A 19-year-old died in hospital yesterday due to a suspected overdose, while a 20-year-old man and a 21-year-old woman remain in a critical condition in hospital after attending Adelaide's Stereosonic Festival. It comes a week after 25-year-old Sylvia Choi died at Sydney Stereosonic Festival, also of a suspected overdose. Superintendent John DeCandia says at the end of the day, drug dealers only care about the money that goes in their pockets.
The message is, illicit drug don't.
25 tonnes of nuclear waste arrived in South Sydney yesterday and Greenpeace activists aren't happy. The nuclear waste was dumped at Port Kembla containing plutonium, the deadliest form of radioactive waste. It has been transported and stored in Lucas Heights for an undisclosed period of time. Greenpeace says the BBC Shanghai vessel is banned from entering and offloading in the United States and the federal government should have the same policy here. Immigration Minister Peter Dutton is hoping there will be no children in detention by next year's federal election. Mr Dutton says there are 11 children in detention at the moment and they arrived in asylum seeker boats. He's told Sky his hopes to slow the amount arriving and then lower the number in detention.
The important thing is that
the district court system will soon benefit from more sitting weeks, new judges and more public defenders to ensure a faster system. The Baird government has today announced they'll spend $20 million on clearing up the backlog of over 2,000 cases. Attorney General Gabrielle Upton says they're aiming to keep up with the growing police presence.
There are a number of reasons why we have.
Updating sports, Socceroos coach Ange Postecoglou has endorsed protests from active A-League supporters, saying their gripes are reasonable and legitimate. Despite that, he's also asked for an immediate end to full match boycotts. Soccer fans have been enraged since News Corp Australia controversially outed the 198 people banned from A-League venues. Port Adelaide midfielder Robbie Gray has collected his second John Cahill medal as the club's best and fairest player, taking 243 votes at an awards ceremony. His second consecutive win was just 13 votes ahead of Chad Wingard, making Gray the third player to win multiple best and fairest titles at the club. And the Kookaburras will play Belgium in the grand final of the Hockey World League final after the European team beat the host nation India 1-0 in their semi-final. But the Belgium coach says Kookaburras will be a tough team to beat, being the first time they have made it into the top 4 at a world level event. In finance, oil is worth $40 a barrel, gold is trading at $1,085 an ounce, and $1 Australian dollar is buying 73.38 US cents. This is Super Network News. Good evening, I'm Heather Miller. A man has died at the Stereosonic Music Festival in Adelaide, believed to be the result of taking an illicit drug. He was treated for a suspected drug overdose at Bonnythorne Park just before 5 this afternoon. He later died in hospital. The incident comes 1 week on from the overdose of a 25-year-old woman at the Stereosonic Sydney event. Police are desperately searching for the parents of a baby boy missing in Sydney's west. Katie Hill reports.
The 6-day-old baby boy and his parents were last seen leaving their Regents Park home in a car on Wednesday. Police were alerted to the missing family by government agencies and have concerns for the baby's welfare after reports of erratic behaviour by his parents. An arrest warrant has since been issued for 25-year-old Stephen Kennedy and 28-year-old Salome Taufahima. The family is believed to be travelling in a gold Nissan Pulsar with registration plates ASY14P, and police think they may be in Sydney. Anybody with information is being urged to contact police. In Sydney, Katie Hill for Super Network News.
Officers say they are concerned for the welfare of a girl who was seen carried into a van on the New South Wales Central Coast. Witnesses have told police they heard the 12 or 13-year-old girl screaming just after 2 o'clock this afternoon near the Central Coast Highway at Long Jetty. Lee Wanner from New South Wales Police Headquarters says a 10-year-old boy reportedly saw a man carrying the girl into a gold-coloured van.
Police are now making inquiries.
A mass shooting by a married couple that left 14 people dead in California is being treated as an act of terrorism. This follows reports that the wife Tashfeen Malik pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group just before carrying out the attack. Sheriff John McMahon says the investigation is ongoing, with FBI officials still analysing computer evidence in hopes of determining the pair's motive.
This is a team effort.
Preparations are being made at Christmas Island for a possible influx of asylum seekers if the High Court rules against offshore processing. Asylum seekers and refugees from Nauru and Manus Island may be transferred to Christmas Island, which is undergoing renovations to accommodate more people. Spokesperson for the Refugee Action Coalition, Ian Rintol, says more than 1,000 people may be making the move.
People who are now, in detention.
Updating sport, Ford driver Mark Winterbottom has claimed his first V8 Supercars championship at the season-ending Sydney 500. Winterbottom wrapped up the title this evening after finishing 5th and 3rd respectively in the round's opening sprint races. South Sydney prop Tom Burgess has been spotted training with another NFL club, the Buffalo Bills. He was seen training with the New York Giants on Thursday. Former tennis prodigy Ash Barty has proved she's no novelty act with an impressive innings for the Brisbane Heat in the opening match of the inaugural Women's Big Bash League. Just 4 months after her first net session, after making the switch to cricket, the 19-year-old showed she is just as handy with the bat as she is with a racket, posting 39 off 27 balls, including a 6. And 7th place Wellington Phoenix have upset the A-League tonight, beating 3rd place Melbourne Victory 2-0. In finance, oil is worth $40 a barrel, gold is trading at $1,085 an ounce, and $1 is buying 73.38 US cents. This is Super Network News. Good evening, I'm Heather Miller. The polls have closed in the by-election to replace former Liberal Treasurer Joe Hockey in his North Sydney seat. Former Hockey staffer and Liberal candidate Trent Zimmerman is widely tipped to win the affluent electorate over 11 other candidates. Greens candidate Arthur Chesterfield Evans is expected to be Mr Zimmerman's closest competitor. New South Wales police hold grave concerns for a 6-day-old boy last seen with his parents in Sydney's West. The baby and his parents haven't been seen since they left a Regent's Park home in a car on Wednesday. Inspector Stuart Sweeney says the pair's erratic behaviour prompted police to issue an arrest warrant for the couple. Mexican authorities have arrested 3 men in connection with the suspected murders of 2 Australian surfers. The pair's believed bodies were found in a burnt-out van last month, but police have not confirmed the remains belong to the West Australians. The suspects are believed to have flashed police-like lights to stop the van, and prosecutors say they've confessed to shooting one of them. Investigations continue into a massacre in Southern California, which killed 14 people and injured more than 20 others. New revelations suggest Tashfeen Malik and her husband Sayed Rizwan Farouk could have been supporters of the Islamic State after Malik reportedly pledged her allegiance to a group on social media. Farouk's family lawyer, David Chesley, says too many assumptions are being made.
We're not finding.
The Goulburn Correctional Centre is in lockdown after prison officers walked off the job in protest of safety and security issues. Guards claim management is pacifying prisoners instead of supporting staff in the safety and security protocols. The strike will be in effect until 8 tomorrow morning. Randwick Boys High School and staff are being tested for tuberculosis after a boy returned from India with the disease. About 100 staff and students are being screened by the South Eastern Sydney Local Health District as a precaution. Dr Mark Ferson says symptoms can be ongoing.
It may develop over it.
A man has died and another is in hospital after a single car crash in northern New South Wales. The 20-year-old was killed when the car he was a passenger in was hit a tree at Karoona early this morning. The 19-year-old driver was taken to Tamworth Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Updating sport, Kevin Walters is the frontrunner to replace Mal Meninga, with Maroons great Justin Hodges the latest to endorse him. Walters was deemed the favourite following Meninga's departure after 10 years as the Maroons coach, despite not even meeting with Queensland officials yet. Others in the running include Supercoach Wayne Bennett and Cowboys premiership mentor Paul Green. The board meets to decide Meninga's successor in January. Ford driver Mark Winterbottom has won his first V8 Supercars championship at the season-ending Sydney 500. Winterbottom wrapped up the title this evening after finishing 5th and 3rd respectively in the round's opening sprint races. With 220 points, the gap is too big for Holden rival Craig Lowndes to overtake. And American Harold Varner III and South African childhood friends Dylan Fratelli and Xander Lombard hold joint leadership of the Australian PGA Championship on the Gold Coast after 3 rounds. The thrilling tournament at Royal Pines concludes tomorrow. In finance, oil is worth $40 a barrel, gold is trading at $1,085 an ounce, and $1 Australian dollar is buying 73.38 US cents. This is Super Network News.